a look at this other one. Oh, no, it's coming back out. Okay, we can see the face on this one here. Hundreds and thousands of rhinos have been slaughtered for their horns. Rhino horn is worth a lot of money on the black market. Kind of ironic, really, as it's not considered a true horn because it has no bone in it whatsoever. It's actually made of keratin. It's the same protein that our fingernails and hair are made of. Good-sized adult black rhino is going to weigh 3,000 pounds or more. They have a charging speed of 35 miles per hour. Now over here on the right side, we have two different kinds of antelope. The darker ones with the horns there are bongos from the mountain forest of Kenya, also known as the ghost of the forest. A little further along, there's some lighter coloured ones. There's a female greater kudu, second tallest antelope in Africa, can weigh up to 750 pounds. No, they're females because they don't have any horns. The males have very long spiral-shaped horns that'll be up to 71 inches in length. They're actually the longest horns of any antelope.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to head over to the Sapi River, home of the Nile hippos. Hippos are nocturnal. They will spend a large part of their day submerged. So keep cool. Hippos can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes at a time. So the best place to look for hippos is, of course, under the water. It's got a couple across on the right there. Do usually get a better view a little further along when we get to the main part of the river. At night, hippos will emerge from their rivers and walk a distance around 6 miles and eat close to 150 pounds of grass. Newborn hippo will be 85-ish pounds. If it's a boy, it could grow to be as large as 5,500 pounds in total body weight. It's got a few here on the left behind the island. A group of hippos is known as a bloat of hippos. I'm going to bring us further forward so we're higher up. That gives us a nice angle so we can see the hippos better underneath the water. Those large greyish-white birds we can see there clustered on the island are pink-backed pelicans. They'll get their pink coloration during their mating season. A lot of people believe that pelicans carry fish around in the gullet flaps found underneath their beaks. Actually works more like a fishing net for them. So those pelicans will scoop up the fish in water, squeeze the water out, and then eat the fish straight away.
Hippos.
And those hippos there, they are excellent swimmers, but when they have the choice, they prefer to just walk along the bottoms of the rivers, simply because it's a lot easier for them. Now coming up to a bridge, so extra important, please do remain seated for safety. Especially here, because if you look across to our left-hand side, you'll see some very large reptiles indeed. These are Nile crocodiles, up to 20 feet long. Those jaws there have a bone-crushing pressure of 2,000 pounds per square inch. Surprisingly enough, these crocs do make very nurturing parents. Both the mother and father roll the eggs in their mouths to help crack the shells when the little ones are ready to hatch. And if the mother feels that her babies are in danger, she will flip them up into her mouth to hide them away and protect them. Next we're heading over to a completely different ecosystem. I am going to take us to the African savannah. Savannah acts as a superhighway for the many migratory animals that cross the continent every single year. Also home to some of our more famous animals such as the lions, giraffes, elephants and zebras. This unusual looking tree across on the right side is a baobab tree, also sometimes known as an upside down tree. Baobabs lose their leaves during periods of drought. They can spend as much as 9 months of the year leafless. And this view here is simply stunning. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the wild Africa we've been working so very hard to preserve. Really is something else. These Serengeti grasslands stretch for hundreds of miles across East Africa, landscape we can see is created by the animals that live on the savannah. Actually, up ahead here on the left side, you might see there's a very large light tan antelope. That's a Patterson's eland. Might see it a little better through the trees further up. The eland is Africa's largest antelope. Patterson's eland is going to be 6 feet tall at the shoulder. So you can see here on our left side, they can leap 6 to 8 feet vertically into the air just from standing still.
Yeah, that's on the list. Bella said that's on the list.
And you'll notice several fallen trees about the place. It's the elephants, pretty destructive. Good-sized elephant sees something interesting way up in a tree. Well, of course, it just goes ahead, pushes the tree over, helps itself to whatever catches its eyes. It'll clear a lot of the space we see here. Oh, now here on the left side, we can see some Ankole cattle. Also sometimes known as Watusi cattle, after the local Watusi tribe that originally domesticated them here. These are the only domesticated animals we have in the reserve. They're very happily side by side with the wild animals here. Those horns there on the Ankole cattle will be up to 6 feet long, with a circumference of up to 20 inches at the base. Look like they've been incredibly heavy. They're actually relatively light because they have a honeycomb texture. The cattle will use those horns as a cooling system, dissipating extra body heat by circulating blood up through those formidable looking horns. After those elephants come through and clear all that space, we have lots of giraffes with those ever so long necks, up to 6 feet long. They take care of the high up foliage. You can see they've been working on these acacia trees up here. Giraffes eat around 75 pounds of food a day. So lots of sunlight gets through here in the savannah, so all these grasses can grow. Various grazers, wildebeest, other antelope and zebras, they'll trim out the grasses. And that creates these open areas that are so characteristic of the African savannah that we can see right here.
No, it is on the list.
You also see the odd reddish-orange cones of earth. Termite mounds. Termite mounds have a large infrastructure under the ground as well. Out here on the savannah, under the hot African sun, these termite mounds get baked until they become as hard as concrete. Those gosh darn elephants come along, well, they like the tall termite mounds. Use them as scratching posts, which will wear them down until they become much more gentle and rounded. Antelope like the rounded termite mounds because that makes a very good viewing spot for them. The antelope can stand up there, look out across the savannah and hopefully spot any predators that are trying to sneak up on them through the long grasses.
I think the safari changed a little bit, the ride. This was the last time we were on it, didn't it?
Up ahead in these bushes on our left hand side, you can see some silvery grey animals. These are white-bearded wildebeest. Around 1.5 million wildebeest cross Africa every single year in their annual migrations. They'll gather in herds of female and young that'll number between 10 and over 1,000 individuals, as well as bachelor herds. Wildebeest is Afrikaans. It's the language of the Dutch settlers that first came to South Africa. It translates, not too surprisingly, to wild beast, referring to the wildebeest's truly terrifying appearance. Also sometimes known as gnu, spelled GNU, is the grunting kind of noise that the wildebeest are known to make.
Somebody shoot a hole.
And up further ahead we have the tallest land animals, the giraffes. 18 to 20 feet tall. So with being the tallest land animal comes a very high blood pressure for these giraffes. Giraffes need large hearts to get oxygen all the way that long next to the brain. An adult giraffe's heart can be as long as 2 feet and weigh as much as 26 pounds. Tall animals have tall babies. A baby giraffe is likely to be a staggering 6 feet tall at birth. You see that one there on the right with that long sticky tongue. Giraffe tongues are up to 18 inches in length. Helps them reach those really high up leaves when they're grazing in the trees.
Could you imagine if I had an
Got quite a few more here on the left side.
like ginseng?
In a moment when we get to those palm trees. Group of giraffes is known as a tower of giraffes. Interestingly enough, the giraffe tails are actually longer than their necks when you include the tassel portion of the tail. Giraffes actually been hunted by poachers for those tail tassels. Hairs found in the tassels are 16 to 20 times as thick as a human hair. Now across here on the left side we actually have two different varieties of giraffes. The one closest to us is a reticulated giraffe from the Latin reticulata, meaning net. Looks a little bit like a creamy coloured net has been laid over it. And then further along, the other two giraffes, and there's another one further back, those are Maasai giraffes. They're more leafy shaped patches with that lacy edge to them. So just a couple of different varieties of giraffes that can be found here on the reserve. Now up ahead here, past these rocks that are on our left hand side, is a spot that is known as Monkey Point, been named that after a troop of manual monkeys we sometimes get to see out there. Mandrill is Africa's largest monkey. Males are going to be around 100 pounds, females 30-ish pounds. These are very sociable animals and will spend a large part of their day out together, playing, grooming, just hanging out in general. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see a few of the monkeys today. Mandrills will travel around quite a bit though, especially during fruiting season. They can travel as much as 3 square miles in a day. Troop's home range can extend to cover 20 square miles or more. So you've got one there between the branches on top of the rock. See them moving around. A couple further back by the cliff wall there as well. They do have tails, very short, they'll only be close to 3 inches long. Probably time that we head over and try and find ourselves a few African elephants. The African elephant is the largest land animal. They can be 11,000 to 13,000 pounds. Most people know elephants have been hunted for the ivory found in their tusks. Well, today, greatest threat to the African elephant is loss of habitat, as increasingly humans and elephants are living in the same areas. Well, that's my usual road. We've seen the last monsoon rains have washed my road away. Going to take a slight detour. Well, there is something we can do to help their African elephants with their loss of habitat. Personal electronics such as laptops and cell phones, well, they contain a metallic ore called coltan. It's mined deep in elephant country, so when we recycle those personal electronics, not so much mining needs to be done. In turn, that helps take the pressure off those elephant herds living in the coltan mining areas of Africa. Now, looks like I'm going to have to take this bridge here, so please remain seated for safety. I'm going to go nice and slow because it looks like they might be working on the bridge. No signs or anything, we should be okay. Well, it's a little noisy, I'm sure that's normal. Oh wow, lead to the right, whoa. Oh wow. Alright, just a little bit further, just about there. Just a touch. And let's get out of there. Was not worried for a moment. Oh no, up here is a great place to look for elephants. This right here is a red clay pit. The elephants, they come in to eat the clay. It contains important nutrients and is a key part of their diet. It does look like we've had a few through recently. Got some footprints, so a few tusk marks about the place. Should be getting close. I can see a couple through the trees. In a normal day, an average-sized adult elephant will eat around 300 pounds of food. Those elephant trunks, so unique and amazing. It is a combination of the elephant's nose and upper lip. There are 2 very agile finger-like projections at the tip. An elephant trunk can contain as many as 100,000 different muscles. Now I do get the local radio out here sometimes. See if I can tune a little something. See if I can find some music, just bear with me. There we go, that is more like it.
Yeah, but look at him. You can't eat like him.
I know, right?
Did you see the rabbit in the pool? Yeah, the rabbit in the pool.
There's a bunch of them for the house.
Yeah? That's where the animals go swimming.
The bear died.
That's their thumb. The best.
Over here on our left, we have flamingos. These particular flamingos are greater flamingos, the largest and lightest pink of any flamingo. Flamingos are not born pink, they get that delicate pink colour from beta-carotene. It's found in the briny shrimp they like to eat. Newborn flamingo will be a dull greyish colour. They turn pink at about a year or so old. Group of flamingos is known as a flamboyance. One flamboyance can contain as many as 20,000 pairs of flamingos. Africa itself is home to more than 2,600 different species of birds, either temporarily or permanently. Many are migratory, will not spend the whole year here. Does give us a glimpse though of the amazing biodiversity to be found here in Africa. Up ahead here is a mud bath. Quite often brings white rhinos to the area. The white rhino used to be Africa's greatest conservation success story. Today they are once more near threatened. The northern white rhino is now extinct in the wild as poachers continue to hunt the rhinos for their horns, becoming more aggressive, getting their hands on more sophisticated weapons. Just goes to show that our conservation efforts need to be ever ongoing. We do have a couple here on the left towards the back. A bit larger than black rhinos. These will weigh 4,000 to 5,000 pounds.
Look at the rhinos. Sit.
Not especially white. Name comes from the Afrikaans word white. It means wide. Refers to their wide, square-shaped mouths used for grazing on grasses. Black rhinos have much more triangular mouths with a prehensile upper lip used for grasping at leaves. Rhinos have very poor eyesight. They cannot spot a motionless human from 100 feet away, but excellent hearing and a great sense of smell, so they definitely know when we are around and in the area. They do come here to roll in that mud. That layer gives them some extra insulation from the sun's heat. Now if you look up ahead towards the front of the truck under the trees, you can see some horizontal palm leaves. If you look under the leaves, there's a cheetah there. There's also a second one a little further along. It's actually getting up, so you've got two cheetahs up there on the slope. Cheetahs are highly endangered. They're hunted, face competition from local farmers as well as habitat loss. Cheetahs will primarily hunt small to medium-sized antelopes. They will hunt by stalking their prey and then chasing them down in a very short and high-speed chase. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals. They can run up to 60 miles per hour for a quarter of a mile. They're also the only felines that cannot fully retract their claws. They need that extra traction for making tight turns during their high-speed chases. Cheetahs are also daytime hunters, unlike a lot of the other big cats, including the lions. This rock copy up ahead is a pride of lions we do occasionally get to see here. They like to sunbathe out on the large flat rocks. As I said, lions are nocturnal. At night the lionesses will go out and hunt. Male lion, he will stay behind to guard the pride. Male lion has a very impressive roar. He can be heard 5 to 6 miles across the savannah. Serves to establish the territory, and he will roar at sunrise, sunset, and also immediately after a kill. He also has a large appetite, usually eats 15 pounds of meat a day, but the male lion can polish off as much as 41 pounds of meat, all in one sitting. Lions used to be found all across Africa, Southern Europe, and parts of Asia. Today they can mainly be found in the reserves found here in Africa. We do sometimes see them in the high-up rocks. They can leap 20 feet in one bound. It does look like they're in a different area of the reserve at the moment. Oh, now over on the left side you'll see two large trees. If you look at the tree further back, lying on the ground under that tree is a warthog. Warthog is the largest burrowing animal. Those big holes you can see down there in the ground will be the warthog's home. It'll go backwards with tusks facing outwards to deter would-be predators.
By the tree.
Female warthogs don't get any warts, only the males have those warts. They help to cushion the male's face during his courtship battles. Up ahead here on the left side down the ground, the large eggs there are ostrich eggs. They weigh approximately 3 pounds each. We can see an ostrich a little further up. Ostrich is the largest living bird at 6 to 9 feet tall. Males will weigh up to 350 pounds. On the right side there, there's an antelope of the bontebok. Bontebok were hunted so close to extinction at one point in time there were only 17 wild individuals left. Today, bontebok can only be seen on reserves. Now this area on the right side is actually a female ostrich with a grey plumage. Males will have black and white feathers. The ostrich is also the only bird to have just 2 toes on each foot. It's thought to help them run faster. Ostriches can run up to 40 miles per hour with a stride of 15 feet. we're approaching the Magadi Glen. It's a very pleasant and serene location. We use it for housing the newer animals when they first arrive at the reserve. Currently, it's home to a small herd of addax. They're a kind of desert antelope with large flat feet, perfect for walking through desert sands. Addax don't run very fast. Well, there's not a whole lot to be running away from normally out in the desert. Well, not surprisingly, people have gone out to the desert, take along a gun and a car, where these addax make easy pickings. Sadly today, the addax are critically endangered due to overhunting. There's only about 300 addax left in the wild. Addax can go most of their lives without drinking any water whatsoever. They are able to metabolize all they need just from the vegetation that they'll eat. Those spiral horns there, they'll be up to 3 feet long. Now over on the right side at the edge of that sandy area we can see some black and white birds. Those are the yellow-billed storks. Yellow-billed storks are carnivorous birds. They like to eat frogs, fish, snakes and small birds. They have a wingspan of about 5 feet. They'll gather in groups of 10 to 20 pairs, sometimes as many as 50 pairs. It's a very unusual sight. Oh, and this gate here means we are approaching the Mons Outpost. 2 weeks really does fly by. Of course, conservation is something everybody can do a bit for. Even when we're at home. It could be as simple as just planting a couple of shrubs out there in the backyard. It is easy to do. Gives the local wildlife a home. It does make a difference. If we have any junior wilderness explorers on board today who wish to know the name of our truck, we are all aboard Simba 1 from the Swahili word for lion. Simba 1. You can find that on page 13 of your handbook. Just because we're coming towards the end of the safari, it does not need to be the end of your African wildlife experiences by any means. I'm going to be dropping you off very close to where you can enter the Pangani forest. There you will find meerkats, colobus monkeys and zebras. There have been a couple of new additions to the meerkat family recently. There's a chance you get to see some cute baby animals out there, and we have very knowledgeable guides all along the trail can tell you about those animals that call the Pangani forest home. Now here in Africa we don't like to say goodbye, a little bit too sad and final. Instead there's a Swahili phrase we like to use, kwaherini. It's rather poetic really, it means to go well. Do have a quick look about those seats before you exit the truck. I know it's a little bit bumpy out there in some places. Don't want to be leaving anything behind. So folks, thank you.